are failing to deliver basic services, creating serious challenges for the residents, for businesses, and for public facilities such as schools, clinics, and hospitals due to the lack of proper basic services delivery. Government has therefore initiated comprehensive reform of the local government system, including the review of the White Paper on Local Government and Local Government Fiscal Framework. The Presidency is providing targeted intervention and support in struggling municipalities, starting with eThekwini and Johannesburg. Working groups in both these metro cities have brought together mayors, senior government officials from all government spheres, business, and civil society to tackle urgent problems. The district development model continues to enhance efficiency by having the 3 spheres of government, including other key stakeholders, aligning planning, budgeting, and implementation to reduce fragmentation, duplication, and wastage. We are committed to continue working with our traditional leaders to ensure that they can play their essential role in promoting sustainable and inclusive economic development while being custodians of heritage, culture, and traditional values. To address widespread misconduct and corruption, the public procurement system needs substantive reform. The Auditor General reports that much of the corruption that they unravel in their reports is embedded in our procurement system. The National Treasury is preparing for implementation of the Public Procurement Act, which will introduce a new framework and establish a public procurement office. We need to ensure that procurement is used as an instrument to build Black and women-owned companies that produce the products and provide services that government needs. It is found that too many tenders that are issued to middlemen or middlewomen who do not have the relevant competence to provide services and products as well. This is a waste of public funds. It encourages corruption and does not advance real economic empowerment. One practice that has weakened the state is the practice of outsourcing functions that should be performed by government departments and public bodies. The effect of this is that public institutions no longer have the skills and the capabilities that they need because they outsource many of the functions that should be performed and conducted by a capable state. We need to get rid of outsourcing of simple and straightforward functions in our government system. Outsourcing opens the door to corruption, with many cases of tender manipulation, bribery, overpricing, and the use of front companies. But it also makes those who work for those entities that we outsource to be vulnerable, because their job situation is always tied to the tenders that those companies or entities receive. Once the tender comes to an end, they become unemployed. We therefore need to give dignity to our people by making sure that they gather good skills and they have permanence in their employment through our work in the public sector. The ANC should act to end the practice of outsourcing core functions of the state. The capacity of the state to perform these functions needs to be rebuilt. The 55th conference observed that South Africa needs rapid, inclusive growth to create jobs. After more than 15 years of low economic growth, we are now beginning to see the signs of a turning point. Much as some, even within our ranks, say this is a delusion, it isn't a delusion. The most recent projections from the National Treasury show that we can achieve much higher growth over the next 5 years if we implement our policy commitments. Our experience shows that when our economy grows, jobs are also created. In the first 15 years of democracy, when our economy grew at above 3% a year, employment rose and poverty fell. In the second 15 years, when growth fell to 1%, unemployment and poverty rose. We have therefore undertaken a strategy to achieve higher levels of inclusive growth through accelerated infrastructure investment, forward-looking industrial policies, improved service delivery, land redistribution, transformative spatial planning, black economic empowerment, and supportive macroeconomic policies. As the ANC, we have been clear that growth must be inclusive. It must drive radical social and economic transformation through redistribution of wealth and opportunity. It must support empowerment of broad-based black economic empowerment. The ANC has remained steadfast in defense of the Constitution to pass legislation that will redress those imbalances, thus enhancing the empowerment of our people as a whole. The 10 million people, young people aged 15 and 24 are not in employment, in education or training. Since October 2020, the Presidential Youth Employment Intervention and the Presidential Employment Stimulus have created earning opportunities for more than 2 million participants. The Basic Education Employment Initiative has brought young teacher assistants into almost 25,000 of our schools and been able to create 1 million job opportunities for young people as school assistants. This has been a phenomenal program that has covered the schools of our country right across. The SA Youth Mobi platform that was launched in 2020 now has over 5 million registered young people. The platform is an online network that connects unemployed young people with jobs, with learnership and training by matching them with local opportunities and support. 70% of opportunities on the platform have been accessed by young Black African women. Around 65% receives a social grant. The Youth Employment Service, a joint initiative of government and business, has provided 200, making it the largest corporate-funded youth jobs program in the world. The 55th conference, South African manufacturing is under pressure at the moment from rising electricity prices and logistical challenges. For industrial policy to succeed, it must be forward-looking, positioning diverse industries to succeed in an increasingly digitized and decarbonized world economy. We need to be bold in developing new industries like battery storage, renewable energy components, and electric vehicle production. South Africa has among the best solar and wind resources in the world, with the Northern Cape being said to have the best radiation of all countries in the world. Yes, it does, including Comrade Zamani, having a town which is called Hotazel, meaning that it is as hot as hell in Hotazel. But what is pleasing with this is that we are utilizing this natural resource to attract investments. The Northern Cape has seen the most investments in renewable energy, utilizing the sun or solar, and the Eastern Cape has also seen great and increasing investments in wind power, as the Western Cape, and now Mpumalanga and Limpopo are also going to see heightened investments in utilizing our natural resources, including methane gas, which has been found in Mpumalanga. Well over 100 billion rand has been invested in renewable energy projects in the Northern Cape. And Comrade Zamani reports that we have seen great growth in the Northern Cape. Industrial expansion requires efficient, reliable, and competitive network industries. However, over the course of more than a decade, our state-owned enterprises in these network industries, particularly Eskom, Transnet, and PRASA, declined due to the effects of state capture, mismanagement, and a lack of capital investment. To correct this, and in line with the resolutions of the 55th National Conference, government is leading a process of structural transformation in energy, in water, in our ports, in our rail and telecommunications. Now, through this work, we are reducing costs, we are improving efficiency, we are lowering barriers to entry, and enabling higher levels of investment. We have seen a dramatic drop in load shedding frequency and severity. This has been made possible by steady improvement in Eskom's performance and regulatory changes to allow private investment in electricity generation. And we have to applaud those who have been working on these programs of ensuring that load shedding is something of the past. We have to applaud them. Government recently finalized the Integrated Resource Plan 2025, outlining a balanced and diversified energy mix. Renewable energy capacity will increase from 17 gigawatts to over 45 gigawatts by 2030, continuing to grow to provide more than half our energy supply. The country is moving towards a competitive electricity market. While Eskom will continue to play a leading role, the new model will enable many generators to supply electricity and compete based on efficiency and costs, and leading to lower prices and more reliable supply. And this is necessary so that we see more investors coming in, alleviating the burden that our state-owned enterprise Eskom should carry on its own as we increase energy generation. We are making significant headway in increasing the volume of goods that are moved on rail lines and through ports. After dramatic decline, freight volume increased from 150 million tons in 2023 to 174 million tons in 2025. We still need to increase the volume of goods that are transported on our rail to well over 250 million tons. Transnet has established a rail infrastructure manager and made capacity available to train operating companies on a concessionary basis, whilst the rail infrastructure itself continues to be owned by the government. PRASA has restored 35 of 40 priority lines, meaning that commuters can now travel safely and affordably on locally manufactured trains. In the last financial year, PRASA recorded 77 million passenger trips on its lines, a huge increase from 39 million in the previous year. So things are moving and people are being moved on our trains. The 55th National Conference noted that expanded infrastructure investment can play a critical role in providing basic services and improving economic performance and job creation. However, over the past 15 years, investment by both the public and private sector has declined. The ANC-led government has made a commitment to invest more than 1 trillion rand in infrastructure over the next 3 years to renew our roads, our ports, our rail, our energy and water systems. This is the largest amount ever budgeted for infrastructure development in the history of our democracy. This will increase our gross fixed capital investment, which has been in decline over a number of years. Government has also allocated an additional 54 billion rand to fix water and electricity infrastructure in the 8 metros linked to institutional and financial challenges. We must use our infrastructure build to maintain maintenance programs, to create platforms for black industrialists, for workers, for small businesses and marginalized communities in urban and rural areas. We must ensure that it assists us in localizing production of critical inputs such as steel and promotes processing and beneficiation of our rich mineral endowment. Disruptions to the global trading system are threatening South African exports. Like most other countries, South Africa had punitive unilateral tariffs imposed on it by the United States of America earlier this year. Our government is continuing to engage the United States in negotiations to reach a trade agreement that benefits both countries. At the same time, we have had to accelerate the diversification of our export markets. South Africa continues to play a leading role in supporting the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area to grow South Africa's exports to the rest of the continent. We've had thoroughgoing discussions with a number of companies that do business in the rest of our continent, and our cooperation with them will be enhanced. While we strengthen the resilience of our export industries, we need to continue to advocate for an international trade regime that is fair, equitable, and rules-based. Land reform remains one of the most urgent tasks of the National Democratic Revolution. Some economists estimate that almost 25% of all land previously owned by white landowners has been restored, redistributed, and moved to state ownership. But there is still a greater hunger for land, and much work still needs to be done to give effect to the constitutional requirement that all citizens must be able to gain access to land on an equitable basis. Key tasks ahead include the improvement of support systems for beneficiaries of our land reform program. We need to accelerate the processing of outstanding restitution claims and resolve disputes more efficiently. Equally important is addressing urban land reform, as most South Africans now live in cities where access to well-located land and housing remains deeply unequal. As directed by the 55th Conference, the ANC-led government has continued to maintain macroeconomic stability and coordinate fiscal and monetary policy to support inclusive growth. Sound management of public finances is essential. A critical challenge in recent years has been the rising public debt, with more than 20% of tax revenues spent on debt servicing payments. Important progress is underway in reducing corruption, wasteful spending. However, cutting spending across the board carries significant social and economic costs. Instead, we need to reduce spending on inefficient programs and increase spending on programs with the greatest impact amongst people, such as infrastructure investment, while maintaining social assistance to poor and working-class households. The measures that we are taking to strengthen public finances is creating a shift in public sentiment and investment. Over recent weeks, our sovereign credit rating has been upgraded. We have been removed from the FATF grey list. Interest rates on government bonds have decreased, and our currency has also strengthened. In the last few days, the National Treasury's latest bond issue was oversubscribed almost 4 times and was issued at much lower rates than before, reflecting renewed confidence in our economy. Some leading business people have said that due to the measures that we are taking, the South African economy has turned the corner after more than a decade of decline due to state capture, the COVID pandemic, the 2021 civil unrest, and the devastating floods of 2022, and weaknesses in government execution. Next year, the country will celebrate 70 years since the Women's March on the Union Buildings on the 9th of August, 1956. We will recall the courage as well as the determination of the women of our country in standing up not only to the apartheid government, but to laws, practices, and attitudes that prevented South African women realizing their rights. We are fortunate today to have Comrade Sophie de Bruyn amongst us, who is a Isitwalandwe, who participated in that march. As the ANC, we have carried that spirit into our democratic constitution, into our laws, policies, and programs. This year, the world marked the 30th anniversary of the Beijing Platform for Action on Women's Rights and Gender Equality. This landmark development has had a profound impact on our own country's efforts to advance the position of women in society. Today, South Africa ranks second. I repeat this. South Africa ranks second out of G20 countries in terms of women representation in Parliament. Over a quarter of top managers in the private sector are now women, and just under half of senior managers in national government departments are women. Comrade Sisisi Tolashe, I have to apologize that you found so many men standing here during our candle lighting, and we hope that too will change, as you are indicating with your hands. As we all know, we have made tremendous progress since our 48th conference that was held in 1991 with regard to the empowerment of women as the African National Congress. Government has made, and I think we should applaud the ANC Women's League for continuing to champion the cause of women in our organization. Government has made a commitment to 40% preferential procurement in favor of women-owned and women-led companies. At present, only 16% of government procurement spend goes to women-owned companies, while a further 25% goes to companies that are partially women-owned. We will increase this. This demonstrates clear progress in advancing the position of women in the economy of our country and in public life since the advent of democracy. However, it also shows that we have much further to go until we acquire and achieve gender equality. We are at the midpoint of implementing the National Strategic Plan on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide. Yet violence against women and children continues unabated. While we can point to progress in responding to instances of gender-based violence, our greatest challenge is prevention. On the 20th of November this year, government classified gender-based violence and femicide as a national disaster. This classification will support implementation of the National Strategic Plan through stronger governance, funding, communication, and coordination. Our efforts to prevent gender-based violence need to be intensified massively. It also needs to be scaled up and include all sectors of society. And in this regard as well, I would like to applaud the ANC Women's League for the leadership of our country in gender-based violence prevention. Comrades, crime and violence continues to take a toll on our society. Apart from the human cost, crime impedes social development and inclusive economic growth. Police continue working with our other law enforcement agencies to dismantle organized crime syndicates and combat financial and violent crimes. Initiatives such as Operation Shanela have had great success in arresting suspects, recovering firearms, seizing stolen vehicles. The South African Police Service has increased its intake of new personnel, including into units like public order policing and detective services. While the country has recorded a decline in some crime categories, we have seen a rise in extortion, kidnapping, and illegal mining. In response, the establishment of a multidisciplinary economic infrastructure task team in 20 hotspots has led to several breakthroughs. Involvement and mobilization of communities is critical to the fight against crime. Significant effort and resources have been directed towards reviving community policing forums. ANC branches must be integrally involved in strengthening CPFs and mobilizing communities in crime-fighting campaigns. As we work to rebuild our criminal justice system, we need to act when reports emerge and allegations are made that threaten and undermine the stability and effectiveness of these institutions. In August this year, we established a commission of inquiry headed by Justice Madlanga to investigate allegations about collusion of police and political figures in criminal activity. At the same time, our National Assembly established an ad hoc committee to probe the same allegations. This is necessary to establish the facts through an independent, credible, and thoroughgoing process so that we can ensure that accountability of our institutions and safeguard public confidence in the police service. We are hopeful that the findings and recommendations from these investigations will represent a turning point in our fight against crime and corruption. The integrity and the credibility of our criminal justice system is vital to ongoing efforts to combat crime and corruption. Over the last few years, we've made significant progress in building and strengthening law enforcement agencies, security services, and prosecutorial bodies. In the 3 years since the final report of the State Capture Commission was presented to the President, government has undertaken major reforms based on its recommendations. These include a raft of new laws to strengthen our anti-corruption institutions, to enhance the procurement system, reform the intelligence services, and improve corporate accountability and public administration. The value of assets linked to state capture recorded by the state is now over 16.4 billion rand. These are monies that were misappropriated that have been returned to the state. In 2024, we established the Independent Directorate Against Corruption in the NPA. In August, the National Anti-Corruption Advisory Council handed over its final report recommending the establishment of a permanent, independent, and overarching entity to deal with corruption. One of the most significant recent developments was our country's exit from the Financial Action Task Team grey list. This is good for the integrity and reputation of the financial system and a boost to South Africa's international reputation. Our 55th conference reaffirmed that Africa and its development remain the central objective of the ANC's international perspective and policy. While Africa has some of the fastest growing economies, overall growth is constrained by poor infrastructure, low investment levels, and instability due to conflicts. Many countries are constrained by a substantial debt burden, often spending more on debt interest payments than on education, health, and infrastructure. To accelerate sustainable social development, our continent needs to focus on green investment and trade, building infrastructure, achieving debt sustainability, and promoting peace and stability. The African Continental Free Trade Area, which entered its phase in 2024, presents an unprecedented opportunity for African growth and development. Intra-Africa trade only accounts for about 16% of total trade on the continent. Therefore, increasing trade between African countries through the African Continental Free Trade Area will spur industrialization, attract investment, and encourage development of regional value chains. South Africa is well positioned to benefit from access to a single African market of over 1.4 billion people. With an advanced and diversified economy, developed infrastructure, and mature capital markets, South Africa is an attractive place for companies to locate their African operations. Meaningful social development and economic growth cannot be achieved until we silence the guns on our continent. Despite progress over 3 decades, recent years have seen reversal. There's been a surge of military coups in a number of countries on our continent, in countries such as Mali, Guinea, Sudan, Chad, Burkina Faso, Niger, Gabon, and Madagascar. We have seen devastating conflict in the Sudan, the Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo, Tigray, and South Sudan. These conflicts have caused thousands of civilian deaths, displaced millions. Many parts of the Sahel region and northern Mozambique have suffered from terrorist attacks and insurgencies. And in line with the international stance of the ANC since 1994, our country has contributed to a number of UN, AU, and SADC peace operations. We have been part of fostering peace in Lesotho, Burundi, South Sudan, and hosted negotiations that brokered ceasefire between the government of Ethiopia and the Tigray People's Liberation Movement. We must be concerned that the struggle of the people of Western Sahara for self-determination has been set back by the recent UN Security Council resolution, which strongly endorsed Morocco's autonomy plan as the most feasible solution, shifting away from past UN positions on a referendum on self-determination. This development calls for the intensification of diplomatic efforts to find a path forward that prioritizes the rights and the interests of the people of Western Sahara. The world faces severe interconnected challenges. Climate change crisis is worsening, with billions affected by underdevelopment, inequality, poverty, hunger, and unemployment. Economic growth remains subdued globally, with many nations burdened by unsustainable debt levels. The global balance of forces is shifting in different and sometimes contradictory ways. The economic and political rise of the global South countries is upending long-established power relations, and these changes are occurring amidst unpredictable and disruptive actions of a new U.S. administration, creating uncertainty and volatility. As a movement and as South Africa, our engagement in international relations aims to promote our country's national interests and protect our sovereignty and constitutional order. It is aimed at improving the well-being, safety, and prosperity of our people. Through the G20, the BRICS, and non-aligned movement, various UN platforms, our country is making an important contribution towards an international order that is more inclusive, that is more just, stable, and peaceful. As a country, we used our G20 presidency to promote practical actions to advance the interests of our continent and the global South. Through more than 130 meetings, we engaged on a bold, transformative G20 agenda that resets relations between countries of the North and South, which strengthens multilateral institutions and the rule of law. All key agreements at the G20 Leaders Summit are important for the well-being and development of the people of our country and our continent and the world. From actions agreed on debt sustainability to just transition finance, from critical minerals to international finance architecture, the G20 outcomes provide important support for our efforts to grow and transform our economy and create jobs. I have, in a national address, thanked the people of South Africa for the manner in which all of us were able to have a very successful G20. I now thank you as members of the ANC. I particularly want to thank our government officials, our ministers, but also more particularly those who were at the center of hosting the G20, which was our Minister of International Relations and Cooperation and our Minister of Finance. But I also want to applaud our comrades in Johannesburg for making sure that they embarked on a thoroughgoing process of cleaning up the city. Comrade Dada Morero, who I continue to phone every day, was able to assure me that we will have a successful G20. So I say thank you to Johannesburg as well. Well done. South Africa continues to play an important role in promoting peace on our continent and far afield. And in this regard, the atrocities committed by Israel against the people of Gaza prompted our government to argue before the International Court of Justice that the State of Israel was in violation of the obligations under the Genocide Convention. Since the onslaught began in October 2023, more than 70,000 people are known to have been killed in Gaza, most of whom are women and children. South Africa welcomed the agreement on a ceasefire that resulted in the return of hostages and the release of many Palestinian political prisoners. However, it is a matter of grave concern that Israel is breaking the ceasefire almost on a daily basis. Our country continues to call for an immediate end to the assault on Gaza and its people, and for meaningful negotiations to commence towards the establishment of a sovereign Palestinian state existing in peace alongside the State of Israel. Anything short of self-determination and the recognition of the fundamental human rights of the Palestinian people will not be acceptable and will not bring peace to that region. We must be deeply concerned about the horrific suffering caused by the civil war in Sudan, in which more than 150,000 people are reported to have died. South Africa continues to participate in different peace processes seeking to bring about a just and lasting peace in Ukraine. This includes our involvement In the African Peace Initiative, several African leaders visited Ukraine and Russia. Our efforts are informed by commitment to peaceful resolution to various conflicts. All conflicts reveal shortcomings in international mechanisms to maintain peace and security. The UN Security Council, in particular, has shown that it is incapable, in its current form, of fulfilling its mandate. There is therefore an urgent need for the reform of the UN Security Council and other international institutions to ensure that they are representative. This is in line with the decisions adopted by the African National Congress at its various conferences. Our reflection on the work of the Renewal Commission, which was decided on by our conference. The ANC's program of organizational renewal is showing progress. The SG will report on this in the medium-term report that he will present shortly. There is still important work to be done, and the movement must continue to attend to both organizational and ideological renewal. And unless the ANC succeeds in renewing itself, we will perish. We must build better and activist branches. We must revive sectorial work. We must strengthen the alliance. We must reassert ANC values and principles and strengthen organizational integrity. The ANC appointed the first Renewal Commission during 2017 and 2022 term, with a main brief to develop an ANC Vision 2032. The discussion document on the vision was presented to the NEC and the National Conference in 2022. Vision 2032 will be made available to NGC delegates to consider as part of their commission deliberations. The second Renewal Commission highlights the need to continue strengthening the key elements as parts of renewal. And these include organizational design, cadre development, integrity, and revolutionary morality. As we proceed towards the 120th anniversary of the ANC, the Renewal Commission recommends specific areas for attention and focus. Firstly, to eradicate factionalism and patronage by intensifying efforts to build unity in our ranks. Secondly, to reassert political discipline and cadre accountability by becoming more systematic and vigorous in ensuring accountability. Thirdly, to modernize and streamline organizational processes to make them more efficient and accessible. And fourthly, to strengthen ideological training and leadership skills by intensifying political education, which is currently underway. Fifthly, to diversify and broaden the demographic composition of our leadership structure. And lastly, to enhance the integrity of candidate lists by strengthening transparency in candidate selection processes. We also need to reinvigorate the alliance by creating and strengthening alliance forums for discussing ideology and strategy. We must also undertake grassroots mobilization through regular engagement with the masses of our people through door-to-door engagement, imbizos, and other forms of mass work. Now, I want to stress that in the last election, comrades, if we are to be honest with each other, our door-to-door culture was not at its best. We did not do vigorous door-to-door. And as a result, on election day, that's why we saw so many people staying away from the polls. And in part, it was largely because they had never been touched by the ANC visiting their homes, visiting the various locales that they go to. We must therefore, as we approach the next local government elections, ensure that we go back to basics. We go back to what has made us a strong organization, being closely connected and rooted with our people. There is also a need for us to renew our values and political culture by reintroducing meaningful initiatives to engage communities and serve the people. We need to encourage a culture of humility and modesty amongst our leaders. This practice of showing off to our people, either our wealth, our cars, as we drive in our communities, must come to an end. The ANC serves the people. This NGC should elaborate on specific actions to be taken under each focus area. If the ANC can demonstrably renew itself, then public attitudes towards our movement will shift from cynicism to possibly cautious optimism and ultimately absolute embrace and support. We have to earn that trust through our actions, not our words. The world is changing in unprecedented ways, with both challenges and opportunities for our country as well. It falls on the African National Congress to provide leadership. The brave women and men of the Congress of the People pledged to strive together, sparing neither strength nor courage, until democratic changes set out in the Freedom Charter have been won, struggling together side by side. That remains our solemn commitment even today. We should now move forward to the complete realization of the National Democratic Revolution. And as we renew our movement, we should be able to get that support back from our people. It is now, as Madiba used to say, in our hands for us to renew and to rebuild the ANC. And we need to move forward to a united, non-racial, non-sexist, democratic, and may I stress, prosperous South Africa. I thank you, comrades.
Rita Mayaliena, Molo, 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 Ramaphosa, Remorata Gaufela, Rita Mayaliena, Molo, Molo,
Amanda. Amanda, President usinike into ekuthiwa yi-political report, not just the political overview. He gave us the political report for the. So after we've adopted the credentials, you will have to adopt this report as well. Now, time is against us, but we must do this. We must allow the messages of support to be read now. Z6. No, Mamelan, Z6. We have 3 alliance partners, 3 liberation movements that have sent people here who are having a presence. So we allow Isango to speak first, followed by COSATU, followed by the Communist Party. Those are our allies. Then we'll come to the liberation movements. Sango, where is COSATU? Sondela Chazingi. Sondela Zingi. Ube solandela party.
Very much, Chairperson, President of the ANC, Comrade Ramaphosa, ANC leaders who are present here, leadership of SANCO led by Deputy President, the President of COSATU, Comrade Zingi, and other leaders of COSATU present. General Secretary of the SACP, although I've not seen him, Comrade Mapaila and other leaders of the SACP present. Leaders of the ANC Women's League, leaders of ANC Youth League, PYA, MDM structures present, and all the invited guests present here. Sinesiqubulo sethu kwisanko esithi asikhulumi ngesikuzwile, sikhuluma ngesikubonile, sikhuluma ngesikwaziyo. This National General Council of the ANC, Comrade President, is the constitutional imperative and a platform for the ANC to assess its work in the middle of the term of office of the National Executive Committee in between conferences, as you told us. In that, firstly, this critical assessment should include the analysis of the state of the alliance and its ability to pursue the national democratic revolution. It must also deal with the assessment of the program of action that the ANC adopted and instructed government to implement in accordance with the work of the ANC subcommittees. Lastly, it is the political program of the ANC to renew itself to become an even more powerful instrument to drive the transformation agenda. As we share our message of support to the ANC today, it is imperative to note that it is centered around the above 3 important points, which are discussed below. As we share our message of support to the ANC on the assessment of the state of the alliance, we want to underscore and reiterate that this is not a paper alliance, as we said, and emphasized, President. Rather, it is an alliance forged out of the necessity to pursue a program that is meant to transform the lives of our people for better. It is therefore a revolutionary alliance glued on the program to pursue the national democratic revolution in order to resolve class, race, and gender questions. Therefore, whether dialectical contradictions prevail on the alliance relations, their synthesis should be predicated from the three important aspects of our revolutionary struggle: the class, race, and gender question. Hence, the following questions are important. How far are we with resolving the class struggle in our country in line with the national democratic revolution? What is the state of racism within the country and how responding to it? What is the level of gender issues, including gender-based violence, in the country, and what is our response to it? Comrade President, Lenin, in his famous "What is to be done," teaches us that posing correct questions lead to correct answers. Therefore, the above question should lead to correct diagnosis of the problems at hand and provide correct answers. The correct answers will also help us to understand whether it is the right time for us to entertain disunity, or we should close ranks against all forms of wage drivers, who, in my view, seek to weaken the ability of the alliance to pursue the national democratic revolution. Anything or anyone who contributes to the disunity of the alliance is actually derailing the NDR and contributing to counter-revolution. Using this characterization of the problem and without questioning the conference resolution of our party, the SACP, as an important ally in this alliance, I do not think that we must not engage on whether material conditions at this juncture allows for us to contest elections separately. If we allow this to happen, what will be the perspective of society of the standing of the alliance, the NDR? I'm pleading with all of us, particularly our alliance partner, SACP, that we perhaps allow space as allies to engage on this matter with the view to agree on compromises from all alliance partners. I therefore urge that we urgently convene the alliance summit to discuss and agree on the program and resolve our differences moving forward. We have a position on that. We are not going there to listen, we will engage. On the work of the ANC, both at organizational level and the government, this work is about service delivery, and it is very close to SANCO constituents. How we are assessed as SANCO by our constituents is highly dependent on the performance of the ANC-led government, especially of service to the people. Therefore, the deteriorating socio-economic state of the country, which further exacerbates the triple challenges of poverty, unemployment, inequality, affect our work as SANCO severely, because we are on the ground to campaign for the ANC. This, as indicated above, has a negative impact not only to the ANC relationship with the people, but it affects SANCO's relationship with the people, because we rallied them behind the ANC under the pretext of better service, delivery, and pursuit of the NDR. We are here to call on the ANC to not only review its strategy on delivery of services, but also to find quick and lasting solutions in order to regain the trust and support of the people. Lastly, on the question of renewal, apart from the delivery issues that we alluded above, the people of South Africa are aware that the ANC over years driven a vigorous program of transformation in the country. This includes all aspects of our struggle and touches in most of our Freedom Charter promises. This ranges from education, culture, land, laws, legislation, labor laws, comprehensive social security program, housing, water provision and electrification, infrastructure development, etc. We moved previously oppressed, mainly blacks, from 20 to above 90 in some aspect of delivery in this regard. Moreover, we commend the ANC for maintaining critical posture international and therefore making significant strides in fully participating in the global economic platforms such as the BRICS and the recent G20. Comrade President, we believe that the ANC has done well in this regard. However, the pace of service delivery must be accelerated in order to do more. As part of renewing the organization, we must look at the following 4 principles of running the organization, taking from Amical Cabral and through the eyes of the needle, the police of the ANC. The collective leadership, criticism and self-criticism to solve internal questions and contradictions, the democratic centralism, and pursuit of the revolutionary democracy. Long live Salo and ANC, live. Long live Sanko, long live Kosatu, long live SACP. I thank you. I thank you, Ugutung Sangabez, this charge.
Mandla, long live the African National Congress, long live. Long live the South African Communist Party, long live. Long live Kosatu, long live. Ngandu silwa mhlali, ngandu silwa. Malibongwe. Gama lamakhosikazi. Siyabulela mqwathi. Ndibulise kumongameli we-African National Congress. Allow me, Chair, to rise respectfully on the protocol that has already been observed. Ndiyacamagwisha, ndiyathokoza, ndibulisa kubantwana bethongo. Chair, please accept our revolutionary greetings from the Federation of Elijah Baha'i, the Federation of Nana Abrams. We are indeed honored to be here and look forward to the robust engagement, concrete commitments, and most importantly, the practical actions emerging from this critical NGC. We must, as a federation, express our deep concern with the plight of our members, the staff of the African National Congress, who once again have not been paid on time, as this is their fundamental right. Comrade Chair, this cannot be tolerated. Workers must be paid without exception. COSATU expects this NGC to focus on the challenges that are facing workers and the unemployed. We need this NGC to focus on interventions to fix the state, to grow our economy, to tackle unemployment, to slash poverty and inequality, to address crime and deal with corruption. In order for us as the Alliance to win the coming elections, we must have a good story to report to society. This necessitates a progressive budget in February that will ensure that the state is able to provide the public and municipal services that the working class and the economy depends upon. We must revive the bold commitments that have been made in the ANC January Lekgotla on a new mass industrial and small medium enterprises finance packaging. We must, as the President has alluded, ramp up the presidential employment stimulus to take the economy to the 3% that is needed. We must also be able to slash unemployment and provide a pathway to for the employment of 12 million people that are unemployed. We must also, Chair, move from talk to action. Abantu abaji amazwi ethu. And so we need to fix dire state of local government, and we must be able to overhaul our anti-crime strategies. Law enforcement and the judiciary must be provided with the weapons to win this war. What the working class does not want to see are comrades that are focused on factional destruction. 2024 and the 40% the liberation movement received is a final wake-up call. We ignore the warning from the working class at our own peril. This NGC needs to focus on intensifying the renewal of the ANC and the unity of the alliance. And we must say, only a coherent and united alliance can emerge victorious in the most difficult local elections to date in 2026. It is therefore essential that the Alliance Political Council be urgently convened, and that we must be tasked to ensure that the alliance is united as we prepare for the local elections. The fate president of the liberation movement and the alliance, the tools to fix the state and tackle crime and corruption, the ability to respond to the needs of workers and the economy lay within our hands. And so we want to say to the ANC, to the SSCP, to COSATU, to SANCO, the alliance is not a convenience. This alliance is a weapon, but a weapon that must be sharpened, a house that must be united. We must therefore resolve what divides us. We must strengthen what holds us together. We must win the local government elections, not for leaders, but for the working class. And so we are saying, it is up to us here collectively to rise to the occasion, to provide society the leadership it is so desperately seeks. And we dare not fail, because history will not forgive us when we do. And we want to say, as the Federation of Elijah Bahai, of Nana Abrahams, we will remain a tried and tested ally in this struggle. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you very much, National Chair. Must I also follow suit and on the protocol as it has been announced? First of all, I just want to indicate that the General Secretary is not with us today because there's a clash in our program. But we have prioritized this NGC because we have allowed him to go and attend to something, and the 5 of us are here as officials. All right, President, I just want to start before I say anything, to start from home. And thank you very much and your government for having convened a successful G20 conference. Not only about
Comrades, there must be order. Listen to what Comrade Masuk is going to say. You are in the ANC. This movement is not acceptable. Be orderly. Sorry, Masuk.
Thank you very much, Chair. And Comrade President, we're saying that we want to thank you very much and applaud you with the government for the successful G20 that we have just convened. It's not only about the G20 in our case, it's the thing that we have actually put in that process of influencing the agenda of the G20. That innovation to bring about the social summit was spot on, because it was not influencing the G20, it was also influencing how also as government and the alliance we should take into account the issues that the summit has actually raised. One of the issues, because I spent time with it, one of the issues that I think they've been raising as a case was that we should stop talking about critical minerals. We must talk about minerals, all of them, because the minerals are part of them and they belong to the people of South Africa. Secondly, President, the party want to applaud you for having represented the sovereignty of this country. We have protected our image and want to say thank you. Your stance in relation to what we stand for as a country was communicated directly to everyone else. And Comrade President, the G20, and not just that act, has allowed us to be able to realize that U.S. cannot dictate into the world. There are a number of alternatives that we can engage in terms of engaging our future. They don't have a hold in us. And for that reason, I want to thank you also for the initiative that you have actually taken to diversify your relationship with China, with all the other countries, with India, and all the other countries that you have been involved in. We're seeing you this week, we're in Mozambique. And we are saying, extend it to Cuba, extend it to Venezuela, extend it to Western Sahara. Chair, we are here to bring a message of support to our ally, the ANC. A trusted ally of the Communist Party. This trusted ally, over the years, we have worked together, we have set out agendas, we have done analysis, we have had some convergences, and in some areas we disagreed. But in our disagreement hasn't resulted in us destroying and killing each other. Our disagreement has always been a strength, has tended to be a strength and a weakness of our work. And you can go back to a history all along. You can talk about the Black Republic thesis. You can talk about the formation of the military wing. You can talk about the strategy and tech adopted in Rogoro in 1969. All those aspects were a product of a contradiction that we're actually dealing with. But at the end, it has given us a way forward. And those are lessons that we must draw from going forward. And we must know that even today, we shall have contradictions sometimes in the analysis of what we are supposed to do and how we must go forward. This NGC theme is quite an interesting one. And I think it's very key to what the future is setting for us. The year of a renewal to make ANC a most effective instrument of the people to achieve the vision of the Freedom Charter. The people shall govern and the people shall share in the wealth of the country. Comrade President, this is profound. And we trust that this NGC, and we know that this NGC is going to reinforce this line in the resolution. But I want to point out, President, that the problem that we have is that the current trajectory of our economic policy is going to be problematic, to be in convergence with what is going to come out of this NGC on the basis of what you have pointed out. There is a need to sit down and review the direction that we're actually taking together, and not the ANC on the side and the party somewhere on the side and COSATU somewhere on the side. And we are agreed by the fact that not long ago, you have taken a very serious problem in terms of setting up our economic trajectory into the future. We are concerned, President, that we were not involved as a collective. And that agenda that you have actually said, Tina sees Bugedi. The last part that I want to talk to, Comrade Chair, the Communist Party welcome and support the agenda of renewal of the ANC. And our members of the party, who are members of the ANC, have been given a task to assist the ANC in this route that you want to do to renew yourself. But at the same time, we have gone as a party beyond that to say the renewal of the ANC and the renewal of the party as you have adopted it and the renewal of the COSATU is not enough. There must be the reconfiguration of the alliance itself. But, comrades, the reconfiguration of the alliance wasn't messed up by members of the party or the members of the ANC and the general members of COSATU. This discussion has been messed up by us as leadership, because when members went into various conferences and said, move forward, we want you to conclude the alliance, the reconfiguration of the alliance, we dilly-dallied until the Communist Party took a decision to say, we are going to contest elections. And the contestation of elections, comrade, it is important, this aspect that I want to speak to, comrade, will assist you, because this NGC is going to interrogate that. You have said initially here, the president said, and the president of COSATU said, we mustn't make our decision on the basis of emotions. We must listen to each other. We are saying, comrades, the decision to contest elections is not to contest the ANC. The decision to contest election is contestation of election. And this matter, comrade, is a very critical matter because it has to do with the existential being of the party. Because if the party cannot introduce socialism as a path, its existence will mean nothing. So these elections are meant to do that. And as I close, Chair, our members will be on the ground assisting the ANC to strengthen itself as members of the ANC to win elections. But at the same time, they've got a task of building a socialist movement, and they will be driving that socialist movement to elections. Mandla!
Amanda, away to Molo and Sophie. Molo and Sophie. Molo and Sophie. Molo and Sophie. Okay. Mamelani ke. Mamelani. The most important thing about a gathering of this nature is that you listen to what you like, you also listen to what you don't like. You have a duty to listen to every view. Now, we have a contradiction there stand up now because the translator into forward mobility. Before we break for lunch, sizawucela the following comrades abathunywe ziipati zabo. John Lukando weSwapo. Niyazi iSwapo? YaseNamibia. Comrade Lukando uzawulandelwa nguComrade Sithembiso Nyoni weZANU-PF ngapha eZimbabwe. Niyazi ZANU-PF? Oh, nambalwa ngokabayaziyo. Then kuzawuthetha uST weFrelimo, uComrade Chaki Abubakar. Ezo zii-liberation movement ezithumele i-members the-Central Committee to this NGC. Thank you, comrade.
Thank you very much, Program Director and our National Chairperson of ANC, Comrade Ngwende Simpson Matashe. Samson, thank you for correction. The President of ANC and of the Republic of Namibia, of South Africa. The President of ANC and President of the Republic of South Africa, Comrade Cyril Ramaphosa. The Vice President of ANC and the Republic of South Africa, Comrade Paul Mashatile. And of course, the Secretary General of ANC, Comrade Fikile Mbalula. Comrade Chair, in the interest of time, I recognize the rank and file of ANC as well as the salutation established earlier. On behalf of SWAPO Party leadership, we wish to extend our word of gratitude and well-wishing to the entire membership of the ANC and the people of South Africa. The President of SWAPO Party and that of the Republic of Namibia, Her Excellency Netumbo Nandi Ndaitwah, on behalf of our Liberation Movement SWAPO Party, acknowledge and highly appreciate the invitation to this generous historic event of ANC. In the same vein, Honorable Chair, Comrade Chair, I wish to extend a sincere apology from our Secretary General, Comrade Sophia Shaningwa, whom I personally standing in for, she wanted to be part of this historic gathering, but due to pressing commitment back home, as a week ago, we had a historic regional elections and municipal where her commitment is required in terms of deployment and secondment of elected office bearer to the second and the third tier of our national government. Therefore, accept her apology. Your Excellency, Comrade President, this noble invitation and convening of ANC National General Council coincide with our freshly ended regional and local authority elections, which was held on the 26th of November 2025, on which our governing party, SWAPO, through the election with close to 70% victory in both regional trajectory victory signify the trust and loyalty to the people of Namibia, our reformer liberation movement, SWAPO, of our freshly ended elections, as well as preparation of our induction training programs, as the new office bearers will be. Our SG opted to send 2 representatives to come and tap wisdom from these noble gatherings. Comrade Chair, I'm therefore accompanied by an esteemed member of parliament, who is also the deployee of the working class, the National Union of Namibian Workers, NUNW, in the name of Justine Jonas. She's there. Comrade Chairperson, we view the hosting of this event as a true reflection of good governance and acting on the will of the people and the entire population of South Africa. This event, under the theme, the renewal to make ANC effective instrument of the people to achieve vision, share the country's wealth, speaks a lot. To conclude, dear comrades, on behalf of which ended up successfully with several declarations, and wish to confirm that Namibia as a country, we stand together with South Africa without fear or favor on both declaration. We equally also thank South Africa for hosting the just ended SADC-PA forum, which was also officiated by the Vice President, Comrade Paul Mashatile, in KZN, of which I was also part of. To conclude, we wish also to congratulate the ANC for its performance during the recent by-election that was held countrywide in South Africa. That shows the trust they have. We wish you the best of all as we move closer to the mass-based outcome and resolution of the 5th General Council of ANC that will provide new energies and result guidance with our organization and established structure. Aluta! Aluta! Maibuye! Thank you, Comrade Chairperson.
Thank you. Zanopia, it's your turn now. You went in. This is Gabalong.
Long live President Cyril Ramaphosa, long live! Long live President Idim Nangagwa, long live! Viva ANC, viva! Viva ZANU-PF, viva! Phansi ngabasizondayo. Comrade Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa, the President of the ANC, kindly allow me to write on the protocols already established. Your Excellency, President Ramaphosa, I come to you carrying arms and your lifelong ally, His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe and the First Secretary of ZANU-PF, to the ANC and the people of and from the people of Zimbabwe to the people of South Africa, declaring that we are one people bound by a history that spans centuries and decades and sacred blood of our people. Comrades and friends, my delegation and I are most grateful, Your Excellency, for the hospitality we have received from the people of South Africa. We want to say thank you very much. Siyabulela. This reflects our profound and unbreakable relationship between ZANU-PF and ANC. Ours is not an ordinary relationship. It is bound by the trenches where Zimbabweans and South Africans fought side by side, shedding blood for the liberation of our people. That history is sacred. That solidarity is unshakable. We are one people. We share one vision, economical and political prosperity of our nations. Freedom Charter, though born in South Africa, is ours too. It inspired the whole continent of Africa. It spoke to the dreams of the oppressed Africans. It remains a guiding star for every progressive liberation movement that seeks dignity, justice, and economic emancipation of its people. Comrades and friends, from the powerful address delivered by President Ramaphosa yesterday and the panel discussion that followed, we had the same language that resonates across liberation movements. That is self-reliance, nation-building, and sovereignty. We congratulate you, President Ramaphosa, and the people of South Africa for your leadership and that of the ANC, for the economic achievements and the registered economic growth despite all the challenges. In Zimbabwe, our president always says, "Nyika inovakwa neveni vayo, ilizwe lakhiwa ngabanikazi balo." A country is built by its people. This is exactly what the ANC is doing. Congratulations, Your Excellency. We commend the progress made towards fulfilling the Freedom Charter. As President Ramaphosa highlighted yesterday, your work is re-attracting the youth to the movement, demonstrating that liberation movements don't belong to yesterday. They also belong to generations to come. You are empowering young people and women, giving them space not only to participate, but to lead and to shape the ANC and drive the national agenda and to own the future of this great movement. The ANC is the future, just as ZANU-PF is the future in Zimbabwe. We have made the ANC, you have made the ANC attractive, Your Excellency. Again, a movement of ideas, solutions, hope, and renew to register. We say with confidence, the ANC is leading today and will continue on the international stage. He has become the voice of Africa. Your membership in the G20 and the BRICS net. On behalf of His Excellency, the President Dr. Emerson Mnangagwa, and ZANU-PF, we reaffirm our support to this and our solidarity and our shared commitment to the liberation ethos that binds us. I would like to wish this Congress the greatest of all success. As your theme goes, indeed, the people will govern. The people will share the wealth of their country. Long live ANC, long live. Phansi ngabasizondayo. Ngiyabonga.
Viva Frelimo, viva! Viva ANC, viva! Thank you. Camara Chair, Camara President, allow me to speak in Portuguese. I have this boy here will help me in translation. Presidente Matamela Ciro Ramaphosa, Presidente do ANC e Presidente da África do Sul, I say, Comrade President Matamela Ciro Ramaphosa, President of ANC and President of South Africa, Comrade Paulo Mashatile, Vice President of ANC and Vice President of South Africa, my brother and my Secretary General of ANC, Comrade Fikile Mbalula, all observe the protocols, dear comrades. Now I'll start in Portuguese. Allow me, permita-me que, em nome do camarada presidente Daniel Francisco Chapo,
to address to this conference.
Em nome da Frelimo, queremos expressar a nossa profunda gratidão pelo convite e pela oportunidade de participarmos neste importante encontro.
In the name of Frelimo, we want to express our profound greatness for the invitation for this meeting.
Esta reunião acontece no momento em que, em julho passado, realizamos a Cimeira dos Movimentos Libertadores da África Austral.
This meeting happens in a year that in July this year, we had a summit of the liberation countries of Africa.
Onde, de forma profunda, discutimos os desafios que temos aqui a nível da região.
In a profound way, we discussed the challenge that we have here in the region.
De forma particular, gostaríamos de saudar o ANC por organizar este evento e, de forma especial, na celebração do 60º aniversário da Carta da Liberdade.
In the formal way, we would like to congratulate ANC to organize this meeting and also to greet them for the occasion of the 7th anniversary of the Freedom Charter.
Este documento não só guiou a luta contra o apartheid, como também inspirou inúmeras gerações de África.
This document, it was not only the struggle against the apartheid, but also inspired countless generations across Africa to believe that political freedom must work side by side with economic justice and social equality.
That's it. A Carta da Liberdade permanece farol que continua a orientar todos que, com a Frelimo, acreditam numa África igual, desenvolvida e soberana.
The Freedom Charter remains a beacon that continues to guide all those who, like Frelimo, believe in Africa that is equal, development and sovereign.
Por isso, quero tomar esta oportunidade para saudar o camarada Ciro Ramaphosa pelo sucesso do G20.
That's why I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate Comrade Ciro Ramaphosa for the success of the G20.
Não há dúvida que este sucesso reafirma o compromisso do ANC em implementar as principais decisões da Carta.
There is no doubt that this event reaffirmed the compromise of ANC to go forward with later.
Queremos igualmente agradecer e saudar a visita a Moçambique.
We would like also to congratulate and thank for the visit in Mozambique.
Foi momento ímpar da nossa história.
It was a single moment in our history.
Como vizinhos,
as neighbors,
devemos trabalhar juntos para desenvolver os nossos países.
We have to work together to develop our countries.
As fronteiras que existem,
the borders that are alive,
foram impostas pelos outros.
They were made by others.
Nós somos único povo.
We are one people.
Por isso temos que continuar a trabalhar juntos.
That's why we have to continue working together.
Por isso é que gostaríamos de saudar esta reunião.
That's why I would like to greet this meeting.
Em que a ANC junta pretende de forma profunda discutir de forma aberta os desafios da atualidade.
That ANC together wish to discuss in open way the situation of the ANC.
Quero reiterar o nosso compromisso, o compromisso da Frelimo e do presidente Chapo em continuarmos a trabalhar juntos.
I would like to call up the compromise of Frelimo and the President Chapo to continue working together.
A vitória do ANC é a nossa vitória.
The victory of ANC is our victory.
Por isso é que temos de trabalhar juntos.
That's why we have to work together.
Para vencermos os desafios que nós temos.
To overcome the challenge that we have.
Os tempos não são fáceis.
The times are not easy.
O inimigo do passado permanece forte.
The enemy of the past is stronger now.
Com outros métodos.
With the new methods.
Mais sofisticados.
More sophisticated.
Influenciando a juventude.
Influencing the youth.
Usando o sistema financeiro.
Using the financial system.
Algumas organizações sociais,
some social organizations,
para retirar os partidos do movimento libertadores do poder.
To take out our parts and power.
Por isso temos que trabalhar juntos.
That's why we have to work together.
E temos que estar unidos.
And we have to be united.
Permitam-me terminar.
Allow me to finalize.
Porque muito já foi dito pelos que me antecederam.
Because a lot have been said for the ones that came before me.
Permitam-me terminar deixando aqui, partilhando convosco, 3 importantes mensagens.
Allow me to finish sharing with you 3 important messages.
Que normalmente como africanos chamamos de provérbios.
That normally as Africans we call it proverbs.
O primeiro,
the first one,
que é moçambicano,
that's Mozambican,
diz o seguinte:
it says so.
Só se come açúcar,
you only eat sugar,
com quem comeste sal.
With the ones you ate salt.
Isso é muito importante.
That's very important.
Para que a gente não se esqueça daqueles que trabalharam conosco nos momentos de dificuldade.
So that we don't forget the ones who have to work with us in the struggle moments.
Temos que estar juntos até hoje.
We have to be together until today.
No momento da bonança.
Where is the time of abundance?
Para juntos partilharmos as nossas conquistas.
So that together we can share our conquests.
O segundo,
the second,
diz que quando não existe um inimigo no nosso interior,
it says that if we don't have enemy inside,
os inimigos de fora,
the outside enemies,
jamais conseguirão nos derrotar.
They will never defeat us.
Isso é importante.
That's important.
Porque reforça a nossa união.
Because it reinforces our union.
A nossa coesão.
Our cohesion.
Por mais que tenhamos problemas.
Whenever we have problems.
Por mais que tenhamos desafios.
Even we have challenge.
Nunca devemos colocar em causa a nossa união.
We never put in cause our union.
Nunca devemos colocar em causa a nossa coesão.
We never put in case our union.
O último provérbio.
The last one, the last proverb.
Acredito que se assemelha do que se diz também cá na África do Sul.
I think it's almost the same with what they say here in South Africa.
Não importa quanto longa seja a noite.
It doesn't matter how long is the night.
O dia certamente virá.
For sure the day is going to come.
Pelo que percebi aqui.
With what I understand here.
Tentando traduzir.
Trying to translate.
Jesu afika kusene.
O Jesu fica kusene.
É importante
It's important
que todos percebamos
That we all understand,
por mais que sejam grandes nossos desafios,
whenever it's a huge our challenge,
ainda há esperança do dia de amanhã.
we still have hope for tomorrow.
E é importante
And it's important
que permanecemos juntos e unidos.
that we remain together and united.
Queremos mais uma vez dizer muito obrigado por esta oportunidade.
We'd like to say once again, thank you very much for this opportunity.
Em nome do presidente Chapo e em nome da Frelimo.
In the name of President Chapo and the name of Frelimo.
A luta continua.
The struggle continuing.
A luta. A luta. A luta. Long live President Ramaphosa.
Long live
Long
President
live President Chapo.
Long live.
Thank you very much.
Obrigado. Thank you very much.
Asundilawula ndiphethe apha. Ndiphethe apha ngokona. Mamelani ke ngoku. We're all going to break for lunch. But before we do that, let's acknowledge the following people. The Communist Party of Cuba. Send a message, and the ambassador of Cuba is here. The State of Palestine, send us a message, and the ambassador is here. Okay. Viva! Ipolisario Front. Ndiyayazi ke kuthiwa Polisario Front anizuyazi. Uninzi lwenu zange niye dirhla. Zange niye dirhla. Is the Western Sahara. Isithumele message and ithumele ambassador. In Venezuela, as a foreign minister, ambassador, Talan Pans. Ningavinga babasemva kwami kuphethe mna apha. In Venezuela, despite the siege under which President Maduro is, send an ambassador here from Venezuela. Now, at least Trump has confessed that if Venezuela has more oil than anybody else, has more oil even than Saudi Arabia. So that is really the issue that is there. Okay. Then let's acknowledge the following ambassadors as Koyo Abba. Algeria ikona. China ikona. Egypt ikona. France ikona. Iran ikona. Nicaragua ikona. Russia ikona. Singapore ithumele ambassador. United States of America ithumele umuntu apha. ayikabna ambassador kodwa ithumela umkumelwe apha United States of America, Vietnam ikona, FES Frederick Ebert Stiftung ikona, Young Women of Africa, Young Women of Africa, and Wabun, okay, Center for Africa Strategy in BRICS, okay. So we're acknowledging everybody. There's one thing that is important, including alliance partners. You are going to participate fully in the commissions. So you have an opportunity to argue your point in the commission. There will be no chairperson like me to protect you there. If you say things that make people angry, you may be thrown out of the commission. I have no control over that. Yeah? Okay, let's do this. Let's break for lunch. Mamela, before you announce him and Ted, Nizabalapa at 3:30. Sinika an hour and some minutes because Nibaninzi. Nomvula announce a venue the lunch. Okay.
Amandla, thank you very much, National Chair. The following are the venues for delegates, for guests who are going to be guided by the protocol representatives that have been assigned to our allies and to the guests that the National Chair just acknowledged. The OR Tambo Hall, Free State, Eastern Cape, Gauteng and Limpopo. You will have your lunch at the OR Tambo Hall. And next to the OR Tambo Hall, which is the Clovers Green, it's Mpumalanga, Northwest and Northern Cape. Then opposite Clovers Green, Serengeti, you have the Western Cape and KwaZulu-Natal. Lunch for NEC and former NEC members will be in Cape Town in the International Center, right on the opposite side. And then lunch for Veterans League, NEC, as well as our international guests, will be at King Shaka International. Thank you very much.
Kan mamelani yabona ke kweza indawo niswa kuzo eziprovinsini nenza lento ukuphuma kuthethwa akathi waphumani kuzacacisa indaweni yakuzo then kuzawuthiwa formally kwajeniwe nawubuye ngo-3 molo batha